Hey guys, you may have noticed that there might have been some small changes that you can see, but at least now I could say that I'm finally back to doing some Blu-ray reviews. It's just too bad though that I wish I could review something a little bit better for my comeback. Hey guys, this is Animat and welcome back to Animat's Blu-ray reviews. It's been a while since I've done one, but at least I'm back to go and give you some of the information on the latest Blu-rays that came out. And in this case right over here, what I have is one of the latest animated features that have been released in 2017 by Pixar, which in this case is Cars 3. Now, before I get into the Blu-ray itself, I just want to go and start things off by giving my personal thoughts onto the movie itself. And I will say right now that this is honestly just okay. It's not great, it's not bad, it's just okay. While it is better than Cars 2, I will give it that, and there are some good factors that are in this movie. I really do like the animation, the racing scenes can be pretty exciting, and also I do love the tribute to Paul Newman in this. Like, really, this is a love letter to his legacy in this. But I cannot ignore the problems that this movie has, where it really does feel more like your generic sports movie, where the plot line feels a little bit similar to the veins of Rocky IV and Creed, where it's about Lightning McQueen and he's starting to get old and eventually he has to go and pass the baton. So the script is a little bit weak and the characters aren't really all that special, but other than that, I can't really say that this is a bad film. Sure, this is one of the weakest Pixar films, but I'm not going to say that it's Pixar's worst film, per se. So, overall, it's fine as it is. Now, going into the bonus features of Cars 3, like what this Blu-ray actually has in store, I'm actually quite surprised that they really did offer a lot. Because normally, when it comes to Pixar films that they don't necessarily succeed well with either critics and with the box office, normally they would just put it low and they would just make it pretty average. Case in point, you look at the Blu-ray of The Good Dinosaur, where they only made one Blu-ray instead of the usual two that they do in all the other Pixar films. But in this case right over here, we actually do get two Blu-rays and they are pretty packed with bonus features. I'm not going to say they are the best bonus features, but we actually do get some pretty interesting ones. And by the way, you will notice that I will look on the side right over here. That's because that's where I have my notes. And I just want to start things off. Of course, the first thing that it does offer is the animated short that appears before Cars 3, which is Lou, which is a story about like a bunch of objects coming together to become this one being known as Lou. And Lou actually resides in the Lost and Found area at a school. And basically his goal is to make sure that kids find the lost things that they left off at recess. And then there's this one bully that comes in, screws things up, and Lou basically is trying to deal with the bully to make sure that all the objects go back to their respective person. And I will say, when it comes to Lou, it is actually an amazing animated short. Far better than Cars 3, I must say. And I really do love the creativity that they put into it, especially with all the different forms of Lou, where they would take all these different objects and find all the different shapes and forms that Lou can transform himself and try to get the bag from the bully. So it really is heartwarming, it's funny, and overall a fantastic animated short from Pixar. Another one that they have, and this is actually an all-new exclusive animated short for this Blu-ray, it's called Miss Fritters Racing School, which is basically like nearly 3 minutes long, and it's just this little commercial to promote the demolition derby scene in Cars 3. Like, that Demolition Derby area has now released a commercial to promote, like, that little Demolition Derby. And I will say right now, for those of you who actually do own this Blu-ray, you can actually go and look up You're Guaranteed to Have a Blast.com. That is actually a real website made for Miss Fritters racing school. So I'm just going to say that right there. And as for the short itself on that one, I will say it's okay, you know, kind of like Cars 3 per se. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's not really bad either. It's just, for me, I feel like it's something that just exists, you know. There is also another one that they have, which is Cruz Ramirez, the yellow car that could. And in that one, they actually look way deep into the new character that is prominently featured in this movie, which, as you can see right over here, is Cruz Ramirez. And they look into the development onto how they built Cruz Ramirez, how they thought about her character, and especially how they highlight looking into the women working at Pixar and even the voice actress that played Cruz Ramirez in order to fully develop her character. Like, they don't want to make her just this sexy damsel in distress, love interest type of character, like the type that usually women would be typecasted onto movies like this. Like, they really try to make sure that Cruz Ramirez really is this strong, independent female character. And that really is the big goal that they want to try to highlight in here, and also highlight the strong, independent female workers at Pixar. So it really is nice, and, you know, it does have some heart into it. It is a pretty powerful bonus feature, I will give it there. And also on top of that, there is an audio commentary that does feature director Brian Fee, producer Kevin Reher, co-producer Andrea Warren, and creative director Jay Ward. Like, they're all there to go and do a commentary on Cars 3. So that's only on disc 1. That's on the first Blu-ray disc that has the movie itself. Now, onto the second disc, I'm not going to say that it features a whole lot of bonus features, but they actually do have some pretty interesting ones. Like, the first one, and probably the biggest bonus feature that it has in here, is called Generations, The Story of Cars 3. And this is all about how they developed the entire story of Cars 3, and also some of the changes that they have to go through, and also how is it that they ultimately came to the story of Cars 3 as we know it today. Like, why is it that they went with the story that now Lightning McQueen is getting older and soon he has to go pass the baton to someone else? And eventually they got to look way deep into it and look how they want to go and make some changes onto the story, including the ending, in which I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm just going to say originally, well, there is a certain winner, and yeah, they wanted to go with that character, but they decided, you know what, maybe this character should win, actually. So that's basically the big thing, and it really is quite interesting in terms of the Cars franchise, how they ultimately look deep into finding a way to really conclude Cars as an entire movie series. And then there's another one called Let's Get Crazy. Again, this one does go pretty deep. This one, however, looks specifically into the Demolition Derby scene and how they try to figure out all different ways of really capturing that feeling that you're watching an actual Demolition Derby, thinking how they want to create the characters, and also producing all the different effects like all the explosions, the fire, the smoke, and especially the mud, how they really got in depth into animating all the different types of muds in that specific scene. Then there is also Cars to Diecast For, and that one actually looks way deep into the one property, the one element that is actually far more successful than the movies themselves, which is the toys. and they really talk about how is it the toys ended up becoming so popular, and how there's literally thousands of them now, like thousands of different types of characters, and all the different variations of characters like Lightning McQueen and Mater, and how they build them as toys. So, like I said before, there's like hundreds of different Lightning McQueens that you can go and buy, and they even made toys based on characters that only appeared for like a few seconds in the crowd. Like every single car that you see in the Cars franchise, they actually built a toy out of them. So that's actually quite interesting that they would go into that aspect, since, like I said, the toys are far more successful than the movies themselves. I mean, seriously, we're talking about $1 billion business on that thing. And then there's also another one called, Legendary, and that is another really big one that they have in this. Now, Legendary, what it is that the crew at Pixar, they really want to go and try to incorporate the origins of racing. Like, they really want to go into the aspect of how racing and NASCAR, how that all began, and they really want to try to incorporate it onto Cars 3. But the biggest thing about it is that they really went in depth highlighting two certain individuals, which is Wendell Scott, one of the first ever African-American NASCAR racers, and Louise Smith, who is the first ever woman to be racing in NASCAR. And they would talk about their legacy, how they went through so many trials and tribulations, and go through so many obstacles, despite living in a time where they can easily be discriminated. They would go and live on to be some of the most remembered and beloved NASCAR racers of all time. And honestly, Legendary, I gotta say, is probably the best bonus feature that they have in Cars 3, because holy crap, like, this is something that they really go deep, and it's honestly something that they really got into some serious social issues, and, you know, giving a message of hope, how people can overcome that in order to be beloved and remembered for many years to come. Which is honestly shocking, because keep in mind, I'm talking about a freaking Blu-ray of Cars 3. I understand that this is about racing, but never did I expect that I would look into a Blu-ray that would discuss about race issues. Seriously. Nah, but seriously, Legendary is absolutely phenomenal, and if you have this Blu-ray, that's probably the first bonus feature I recommend you go and check out. Okay, so the next one that they also have is something called World's Fastest Billboards, and in that one, it's a little bit smaller than the previous bonus features I talked about, but that one actually goes and talk about all the different advertisings, the different logos, the labels, the graphic designs, and they discuss about every single one of them that they would make for the Cars franchise, especially with Cars 3, how they thought about all the different brands that they would go and create for this, rather it be all the little ones for Lightning McQueen, like if he retires, then he could sell different products like Mr. McLean or Lightning McGrill, or even some of the small things that you would find like on the cars themselves. Like they would talk about Rusty's, of course, and they would talk about all the different kinds of advertisings and what kind of businesses that would be in the Cars universe. Like what kind of social media would they use? They even thought about what kind of like dating apps would they have, what kind of insurance, like banking, and all that kind of stuff. They thought about all the logos that they could create in there, and they would incorporate it onto this. Then there are the other ones, like one of them is called Fly-Throughs, and in that one, it's basically, there's like 3 different minute-long videos where you actually get an aerial point of view of some of the different places in the Cars 3 universe, which includes Thomasville, the Florida International Speedway, and the Rusty's Racing Center. So it's like you got a point of view of a drone looking into all these different areas. And then afterwards, you also got My First Car, which is a series of 3 different videos. This one, they ranged from like 1.5 to 2 minutes long, where we talked to 3 different people working at Pixar, and they tell their little story about their first car that they owned. And then, of course, there's also the deleted scenes, in which you can go and check out all the different scenes that they removed from the movie, or the alternate takes and stuff like that. That is actually the longest bonus feature that they have in this, which actually goes for around 26 minutes. And then, of course, you also got the trailers and the promos that they would go and promote Cars 3. And I think with all that said, that's pretty much it with all the bonus features that they have. So yeah, this really is packing. Now, in terms of the stuff that they offer with Cars 3, I'm just going to say right now, like I said before, this actually does come with 2 Blu-rays. Like one made especially for the movie, and the other is more for the bonus features, which honestly is kind of surprising because personally, I do feel like with the bonus features that they have, they could easily just fit it all onto just one disc, because honestly, the amount of bonus features that they have, it almost feels like the same amount that I got with the last Blu-ray that I reviewed with the signature edition of Bambi. So technically there isn't a lot, but there is a good amount. So yeah, it does have 2 Blu-rays into it. Of course, it also comes with a DVD and also a digital version of the movie. So with all that said, with the amount of bonus features, with the movie itself, what is it that I would give Cars 3? Well, honestly, I think I'm gonna go and give it a little bit more than I did to the movie itself, and I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Now, I know that technically the movie really isn't all that much, and debatably it is one of the weakest Pixar films, but honestly, what Pixar did with this Blu-ray, I feel like they might have put in a little bit more effort onto this than maybe the movie itself, because it really does go in depth not only onto Cars 3, but also a little look onto the more successful aspects of the Cars franchise, and even on the history of racing itself. Like I said before, some of the bonus features like Legendary, or even Generations, the story of Cars 3, they really go really in depth into not just cars, but also just the history of racing, how it really wants to be this big love letter to just racing in general, not just to Paul Newman, but like honestly, this is really made for racing fans, and honestly, that's my biggest recommendation. If you're already a fan of the Cars franchise, or if you're a big fan of racing, then this is a must-own. You gotta have this. The bonus features are absolutely worth it, and I'm sure, like, if you're already a fan of racing, then this movie is definitely right up your alley. However, if you're not a fan of the Cars franchise, then honestly, at least for the bonus features, this is worth a rental just to check out just how they went in depth into the movie and to see the different bonus features, and also it'll give you an excuse to check out the animated short Lou. So at least before the time that Pixar would eventually release a Shorts Collection Volume 3, this will be the only way that you can go and check out Lou. So yeah, that's honestly my recommendation, that if you love cars, rather it be them racing or the Pixar franchise, then definitely go and get this. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this review of the Blu-ray of Cars 3. Now, I just want to start off by giving a huge thanks to FilmBook and Disney for giving me this opportunity to go and review Cars 3 on Blu-ray. So, if you guys want to go and check out all the latest news that's happening in the entertainment industry, rather it be on TV and movies, then all you have to do is just go to FilmBook.com. I also do some exclusive work in there. I do Movie News Weekly every Sunday, and also every Saturday, that's when I would go and do the animation podcast, where I talk about all the latest news in animation. However, if you guys are more interested in moi, then all you have to do is just go to my YouTube channel at ElectricDragon505. You can also go and find me on Facebook, on Twitter, and I do have a Patreon page if you want to go and support my work and get some awesome rewards at the same time. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I'm glad that I'm back doing some Blu-ray reviews. Hopefully, soon enough, there could be another one coming out, so we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!